26-year-old housewife who recently got married. I truly regret getting married because my 55-year-old mother-in-law, Patricia, and my 30-year-old husband, Adam, bully me so much now. I thought they were both such sweethearts before. When Patricia asked me to move in with them after my father-in-law passed away a few years ago, I happily agreed because I knew that once we were married, we would live happily ever after. However, as soon as we were married, they drastically changed, and I also learned that my husband's reclusive brother lived with them, which they had not disclosed to me. So on the morning following our wedding, I was startled to discover a strange man sipping tea in the kitchen. Then I met Joseph, Adam's younger brother, who is 3 years younger than Adam. Joseph helped me stand up as he sipped his coffee because my legs gave way. I was relieved when he introduced himself, saying, "I'm Joseph, 27 years old, someone who my mother and brother dislike." His kind way of speaking gave me the impression that he was a good man. Just as we were getting to know each other, my mother-in-law woke up and entered the room. "Joseph, wait in your room until you're ready to go." With a dismissive wave, she continued, "I'll bring your food later." I said, "Mother-in-law, why don't we have breakfast together with Joseph?" "Mind your own business. How could you dictate to me as a mere daughter-in-law?" she replied angrily. Upon seeing my mother-in-law, who had been so sweet just a day before, I was taken aback. Her expression, behavior, and speech pattern had shifted. She used to call me Leah and was always smiling, but now she gave me a demon-like stare. Joseph whispered to me, "This is my mother's actual nature, sister-in-law. She's been playing nice, and so has my brother to trick you. I advise you to get away as soon as you can." I was confused by what he said. "In your dreams. I won't let our free housemaid escape that easily," my mother-in-law scoffed. "Please be appreciative, since we are providing free care for an orphan without parents." I wanted to get away after hearing this, like Joseph advised, but I chose to stay and have a conversation with my husband, whom I married out of love. Afterward, my husband awoke, appearing drowsy. "Why is there so much noise early in the morning? Why won't you let me go to bed?" He glared at me, his expression serious in a way I had never seen before. Joseph was right, I realized, about my husband lying to me. My husband's face altered when I backed away in terror, and he added, "Just kidding." "Mom, get along with my wife," he said, pulling me into his hug. He called his mother Mom, which astonished me, but I was happy to hear it since I assumed he was back to his normal self and immediately forgot about his earlier angry look. More reassured, I reasoned that perhaps the reason he appeared so annoyed was that he had just woken up. I decided to take up my offer to make breakfast and set the table with a dish for the 4 of us. However, my husband commanded me to carry Joseph's share to his room. "Sorry for not telling you before, but my brother is a shut-in piece of crap. It scared me too much to tell you. He locks himself in his room all the time and hardly ever leaves," my mother-in-law continued. "You wouldn't believe they were siblings because of how different he is from Adam." They proceeded to insult Joseph. I went to Joseph's room with his breakfast and knocked on the door. "Thank you, but don't worry about me. I'm going out to dinner," he said as he attempted to shut the door. "Dining out all the time isn't healthy," I blurted out, feeling sorry for him. "I'll take care of everyone's health now that I'm a member of this family." All he said was, "You must leave this place. I hate being by myself." I experienced a tightening in my chest and began to tear up as I thought back to my own experience after my parents passed away. After receiving a PTSD diagnosis, I'm currently undergoing treatment. I could be reflecting Joseph's circumstances onto myself. I told Joseph, "I'll bring some more food later," and made my way back to the living room. "Can you finish up the housework and come to the convenience store at noon?" my husband said as I entered the living room. "All right," I said in response. Once he left for his job at the convenience store, My mother-in-law started to bully me. As she began sipping tea in the living room, she gave the order: wash the dishes, clean up, and finish weeding the garden all by this morning. After responding, I got to work on the dishes. I counted the number of weeds in the garden before starting to clean each room. I was shocked to see that the garden appeared to have been neglected for a long time. I trembled at the possibility of all the bugs that might come out. I was determined to get the cleaning done quickly because I could see dark rain clouds in the sky. I cleaned every room in the house except for Joseph's room on the second floor after finishing the living and dining rooms. I quickly returned to the stairs after hearing a loud bang coming from the first floor. There was salad oil all over the kitchen floor along with my mother-in-law. She said, "Clean up the spilled oil." And it was obvious that she had taken off the salad oil's top and spilled it. The empty bottle was lying across the place. "Why would you do something like this?" I spoke to my mother-in-law directly. "What? Do you think I intentionally did this? How horrifying. You're a terrible in-law's daughter. You are to blame for leaving items in my path." She shouted, "Get to cleaning instead of talking," and threw a roll of paper towels at me. I quickly wiped the kitchen floor, knelt, and used paper towels to absorb the oil, all the while keeping in mind that I had to head to the convenience store my husband owns after tidying the garden. My mother-in-law bumped into me and I fell on the greasy floor. "You're in my way. Move as I approach." "Unbelievable," she scoffed. Just 2 days after our wedding, I regretted moving in, but I was too busy to think about it. It took quite some time to clean the floor. I was bitten by mosquitoes numerous times while I tirelessly plucked weeds and bagged them up during the garden cleanup. I was exhausted when I completed the work. Thank goodness the garden was small. Even though I didn't have much time till noon, I had to quickly take a shower because I couldn't leave the house with my body soiled with sweat and oil. Before using the restroom, I believed I had ready my clothing and underwear, but when I came out, everything was gone. Once again, it was my mother-in-law's doing. Though I didn't have time to debate, I was frustrated. I had planned to head to the bedroom after drying off, but even the bath towel had disappeared. The clothing I had been wearing was going to ruin my body once more, therefore I was unable to put them on. I quickly made my way to the second-floor bedroom after wiping my body with a face towel I had used in the bath. As my mother-in-law started laughing wildly and filming herself, I felt like I couldn't live with her any longer. Halfway up the steps, I came across a bath towel. I hastily wrapped it around my body and headed to the sleeping quarters. I wanted to cry because I was so frustrated, but I refrained because it would just please my mother-in-law more. I saw Joseph as I quickly got dressed and left the bedroom. "Listen, sis-in-law, you really need to leave this house right away. That woman is obsessed with stuff like this," he continued, passing me a piece of paper with his WhatsApp QR code. "I know you're in a rush, but if anything happens, hit me up here." He then returned to his room. I went to my mother-in-law's room, pocketed the paper, and told her I was heading to my husband's convenience store. She remained silent and continued to giggle at a video on her phone. I went off to meet my husband, but I had a sneaking suspicion that she was watching the previous footage of me, which almost brought me to tears again. My husband instructed me to enter the office when we were at the convenience shop. He gave me the store uniform with a half smile on his face. "Leah, you really looked hot as you climbed the stairs in your undies. The next time, before you step into the shower, make sure your clothes and towel are ready." "It's awkward," he remarked. "They were with me. Mom must have kept them hidden." "Halfway up the stairs, didn't you notice the towel?" I replied, losing my cool as I began to cry. I had no time to find my clothes or underwear. My husband began using his phone to record me. "I'll send my mom this video if you don't cry and lose it when she's giving you a hard time. She needs to be satisfied all the way through. You're making me record this video, which is such a burden," he remarked, hurriedly getting me ready for the store uniform. I simply followed instructions and put on the outfit. My husband's remarks crushed me, and as he guided me into the store, tears flowed down my cheeks. I couldn't stop thinking about how they were treating me. Before he went, he introduced me to a woman who worked there and asked her to show me around. Mrs. Donna was a gracious, middle-aged woman. Observing my tear-swollen eyes, she obligingly said, "It's likely that the boss won't be back for some time. Maybe you could take a break in the workplace?" However, I reasoned that if I took a break, he and his mother would be watching through CCTV footage and would criticize me, so I requested her to teach me the work instead. Mrs. Donna guided me through the process with such kindness and patience. She showed me how to place orders, run the register, and remember where everything went as we refilled the shelves. We became good friends very fast after she stated, "Let's start by getting restocking down pat," with a smile. Around 5 p.m., my husband returned to the store. "You can now leave for home," he said. "Start on dinner and do some shopping on your way back," and went to work at the store. Since Mrs. Donna had a 5 p.m. shift as well, we got ready to head out together. A man who appeared to be a college student entered the office as we were leaving and began donning a uniform. We bid each other farewell and headed out. Mrs. Donna remarked, "If you need anything, give me a call." And we swapped phone numbers as we were heading out. I thanked her, saying, "Thank you for being so kind." "I knew something was up," she retorted, "Poor thing," and hugged me. We remained in that position for a few seconds before I had to run home to cook and shop, fearing the worst from my mother-in-law. I was overburdened with chores when I got home, from making dinner to getting ready for the bath. My in-law's mother yelled, "You! Did you really bring that bag of yard trash to the dumpster? Move it quickly." I was lightheaded at the notion of having to lift those 5 hefty suitcases by myself. But I obeyed her instructions since I didn't know what would happen if I didn't go. The bags were so heavy that I had to stop and pick them up one at a time, even though it just took me 2 minutes to go to the dumpster. I ran into Joseph outside. He remarked, shaking his head, "It's her again," and assisted me in carrying the bags to the landfill. "You'd better move quickly or you'll pass out. You realize that you don't have to remain silent like me," he continued, supporting me as I carried all the baggage. Then he said, "If we go in together, it will give away that I helped with the trash, so you go in first." I wanted to thank him and extend an invitation for him to come inside. So I entered the house by myself. Adam returned a short while later with Joseph. He proceeded to the living area, while Joseph immediately made his way to his room. "Starting today, Leah, you will be working both the day and night shifts at the convenience store. You'll need to depart shortly because the night duty begins at 8 p.m., he stated. "I'm already tired from today," I retorted. "In addition, I'm afraid of the dark, and I am still learning the work. It's not possible." My husband took the divorce documents out of his suitcase and gave them to me. "There's no need to stay married if you can't work. If there's anywhere an impoverished orphan can go, feel free to go, huh?" With smug smiles, my husband and mother-in-law observed me. I made the decision then and there that I would never forgive these people. Although I hated to leave Joseph alone, I decided to move out of the house because, as he mentioned, I felt like I might break at that point. I planned to go to the convenience shop after realizing I needed to put these two out of my mind for the time being. Luckily, there were no customers during the night shift at the convenience shop. I added Donna and Joseph as users to my WhatsApp group, and we started messaging each other. They were able to provide me with knowledge that I was previously unaware of. Joseph told me that before the marriage was finalized, my husband had made up his mind to marry a lady, brought her home, and proceeded to abuse me in the same way that he is doing to me today. That explains why, up until he married me, he had been acting so kind. In addition, it appears that hiding the engagement ring my husband gave me and accusing me of losing it was the next act of harassment directed at me. Joseph said my mother-in-law and spouse were in the living room right now, happily plotting this. One of Joseph's two cell phones is left in call mode in the living room. He's currently using WhatsApp to record their talk. He used an emoji of laughter to send me a message. Donna informed me that her husband was involved in some way with an elderly employee of the convenience shop. Since the woman was married, it is said that he visited her home when her husband was not there. This, according to the narrative, annoyed Donna, who is forced to work even as a store manager. I kept reading the message because I couldn't believe what I was reading. I asked Donna and Joseph if we could start a group to share information because I didn't know what to do on my own, and they were more than happy to help out. We created a WhatsApp group discussion. I told them that after I decided to move out of the house, my husband gave me the divorce papers. Joseph expressed his satisfaction by saying, "I'm glad you finally decided to leave." Joseph, though, heard me say, "You're leaving with me too." I then disclosed something in the group conversation that I hadn't shared with my spouse or mother-in-law. I shared it with them and then informed them about my scheme to exact revenge on my husband and mother-in-law. Joseph and Donna both expressed a desire to assist. With hesitation, Donna revealed that she had a speech recording on a voice recorder that might prove my husband's unfaithful affair with the woman. She also appeared to have a tape of my husband's remarks made at work today, as well as a photo of them entering the woman's residence. Donna sent a recording to the group chat. Mom was frustrated because you wouldn't cry no matter how much she bullied you. It was Adam's voice when he made a video of me crying and sent it to his mother. Donna granted Joseph's request to have complete confidence over all of the material. "That's the proof of your cheating husband and bullying mother-in-law, isn't it?" Joseph said. Donna persisted in collecting further proof of my husband's adultery, and I decided to hire an attorney and hunt for new residences for Joseph and myself. Donna questioned out loud, "Isn't it bad that I'm recording?" at one point. Joseph responded, "You just happened to bring a voice recorder that was in record mode, right?" Donna answered, "That's right, it was just by chance." She appeared to laugh. I never imagined that in such a short amount of time, I would make such amazing friends. I had the impression that my parents were watching over me and protecting me. I locked my phone since we had to maintain the secrecy of the group's existence. My husband messaged me after a time saying, "You can come home because the other guy is coming at one." When I got back to the house, my mother-in-law and husband had already fallen asleep. I texted Joseph to get the arrangements done as soon as possible. "Get that divorce paper filled out soon and have a good sleep," Joseph shot back. The following day was the same pattern: cleaning, working at the convenience store, going back home to finish up some cleaning, and then going back to the convenience store. As was to be expected, before going to the evening shift, my mother-in-law said, "Show me the engagement ring you received from Adam." "It's not here since you hid it, mother-in-law," I shot back and made my way to the convenience shop. When my husband wasn't around, Joseph went up to the convenience shop and took a voice recorder from Donna. He gathered the facts and gave me a quick overview. When my husband's mistress's husband paid a visit to the store, Donna said to him, "You know, our owner and your wife are very close. When your wife is off, the owner appears to be mysteriously missing." This was such an obvious clue that the husband would undoubtedly become suspicious. We thought that the husband might have gone home, but he appeared to be returning to the office from an outside appointment. This was shared in our group conversation by Donna. Equipped with the data that Joseph had gathered, I proceeded to seek legal advice. Joseph and I decided on the move's site after the attorney granted his okay and reassured me that we had sufficient documentation. At last, my revenge was revealed. This was the result of enduring everyday bullying by my husband and mother-in-law. I faked to grovel before my husband and mother-in-law on his day off to make the arrangements. I apologized to my mother-in-law. "Sorry for letting my stupidity cause you so much trouble. This is not a peace offering, but I would like to gift Adam and you a one-night stay at a hot spring resort." In response, my mother-in-law said, "At last, you've given something. That's good. Continue using your time and money in this manner, she said, taking the coupon. What time is it? Tomorrow. Isn't that a little unexpected? She questioned. Feeling sorry for myself, I said, Mother-in-law, I'm broke and couldn't afford anything but this discounted deal. Mom, I can leave work to Leah tomorrow so we can go, my husband interjected. We might not receive this opportunity again, since it is a gift from a financially disadvantaged orphan. If you only put in your work without grumbling, I'll let you stay, he said to me. My mother-in-law said, Don't think this will stop the bullying, but when you give me presents like this, I get a little happier. The two of them departed early in the morning in good spirits. They were unaware that the hotel booking voucher I provided them with was a discounted one. After their scheduled departure, the movers arrived. I packed my things and Joseph's stuff into a truck, and we drove to our new home. One of the items my parents left me was a large house that we moved into. My paternal grandpa and both of my parents left me a sizable fortune, which I had kept a secret from my husband and mother-in-law. I gave my trustworthy cousin management of a corporation I had founded to oversee other properties. Joseph and I decided to live together after moving into the spacious home my grandfather had acquired, which had lain empty. I made this decision to make sure my husband and mother-in-law wouldn't find us. I opted not to rent out the house and owned the company that managed other important assets like insurance money. My mother-in-law called me furiously the day after we moved. She called me garbage, scolded me for using a discount code, and told me to take Joseph with me when I left to get a divorce. She became even more upset when I calmly stated that I had already filed the divorce paperwork. My husband then got the phone from her, insulted me, and hung up. Joseph and I let out a great chuckle at their responses and thrilled at our fresh start. As a single mother, Donna had already decided to stabilize her life by quitting her job at the convenience store and taking a full-time position at my cousin's business. At noon, she intended to bring her child over to join us in celebrating. Although Joseph first struggled with the change, he was eventually adjusted nicely. He became a prosperous investor by keeping up his earnings from his online lectures. Donna came later, and throughout our happy celebration, our friendship grew. My mother-in-law inquired about my new place and whether Joseph was with me over the phone the day following my move. I pretended not to know and replied that we had both moved out. It was amazing that 2 pieces of trash had vanished at the same time, she said with a bitter smile. My ex-mother-in-law and husband had agreed to the conditions of the notification and were prepared to make the demanded payments to avoid going to court, my lawyer later told me. My account received the agreed-upon amount. As Joseph and I were getting used to our new life together, my ex-mother-in-law went into a fit of rage and started ringing my phone non-stop. I eventually replied after noticing thousands of missed calls every second. Are you aware of Joseph's location? Tell me if you know, she insisted. I tersely replied, I don't know, and tried to hang up. She then said, Wait, how much money do you have in savings? Why must I reveal my savings to an unknown person? I said goodbye and hung up. However, she contacted me back right away and insisted that I give back the money she had given me as comfort. I started to protest. I don't need to repay the money, but she stopped me and begged me to pay attention. She explained her poor circumstances. My ex-husband was facing a divorce lawsuit from the partner he had an affair with. The husband of his mistress had solid proof since Donna, working with a private investigator, had obtained it rapidly. In addition, the convenience shop paid a sizable fine and ended its agreement with my ex-husband since he had harmed the business's reputation. He couldn't afford the entire amount he owed. My ex-mother-in-law started looking for Joseph when she learned from one of Joseph's friends that he made more money than my ex-husband after I moved. She said she hoped to get back the alimony she had paid me, which would help them out of their financial bind. She insisted that I find Joseph and return the money, to which I calmly replied, Considering my financial security from my parents' inheritance, $50,000 is nothing. I strongly told her that I wouldn't give money to strangers and threatened to call the police or take legal action if she tried to contact me again. After that, my ex-mother-in-law stopped calling, and I also ignored the love letters my ex-husband started writing, begging for us to get back together. He was unable to obtain employment in his former industry because of his damaged image, so he was forced to work as a traffic control person on road construction sites, despite selling his house. According to reports, my ex-mother-in-law worked part-time at a supermarket, but had a challenging disposition that made her socially awkward. 2 years later, I married Joseph, and the two of us are having a great life. Joseph suggested that we come together in my parents' honor, and once we got married, he adopted my last name. A boy will be born to me next month, and I've already decided to get along well with my future daughter-in-law.